Okay, so today we are going to be start a different kind of HTML things. The first thing is what are the different kind of attributes in HTML? HTML attributes. So there are multiple kind of attributes in HTML, HTML elements. And first of all, we should understand what is attribute. What is attribute? For example, if there is a human being, there is a human person. So human have a lot of attributes like human have some color, human have some age, human have some name, and human have some ID, human have some height, weight, etc. So human have a lot of attributes. In the same way, you take a cat. Cat have a lot of attributes like pet name, breed, gender, and color, and price, and height, weight, name, etc. In the same way, HTML elements also having lot of attributes. HTML elements also having attributes. So those attributes, HTML elements having attributes, that attributes are actually two types. One is common attributes. One is common attributes. One is a special attributes. So what are the common attributes? Then what are the special attributes? I'll tell you and explain you. So common attributes are title, ID, class, and width, height, enough. So title is the attribute, ID is attribute, class is attribute, height is, width is attribute, and style is attribute. These are the common attributes for each and every element in HTML. But some of the attributes basically special, like src, href, and target. So these are the attributes, basically special attributes. Title attribute, ID attribute, class attribute, width, height, style, all these are basically common attribute for each and every element. src attribute, href attribute, target attribute are special attributes. Okay, where src can be utilized? src can be utilized for img tag, and src can be utilized for iframes. In the last class we discussed about iframes. And href is going to be utilized for anchor tag, a tag, and href is going to be utilizing for style or link tag. Some of the target attribute basically utilizing for anchor tag, a tag. So let us discuss two different programs about common attributes and special attributes. Okay, let me save this folder. Next time we'll create a new program, common attributes. Common attributes .html. Okay, so let me create something now. I will take h1. Okay, so this is having something like web development. So where attributes are going to be given, one important note point and to write here. Attributes are given. Attributes are given in open tag. Attributes are going to be given in open tag. So syntax, how to write attribute, let me tell you. So this is element name, right? Element name space attribute name is equal to single quotes or double quotes, specify the value. If you have another attribute, again space, another attribute name is equal to double quotes value. This is the way of writing attributes. Element. So element name, attribute name is equal to value, attribute name is equal to value, then element name getting closed. So this is the syntax of writing attributes. Okay, let me write some common attributes for H1. H1 have title, heading. H1 have style attribute like color red. H1 have ID. H1 have class. So these ID and class, these two attributes are basically utilizing for, suppose if you want to access H1 into the style sheet, if you want to access H1 into the style sheet, or if you want to access H1 into the script sheet, script. I will tell you later what about the style tag open, style tag close, what about the script tag open, script tag close. Style tag open, style tag close is called internal CSS. Internal CSS, page related CSS. Script tag open, script tag close is called internal JavaScript. Internal JavaScript. This is internal CSS, this is internal JavaScript. So wherever we have internal CSS, style tag open, style tag close, we need to write. Wherever we have the internal JavaScript, then we need to go with the script tag open, script tag close. Then what you need to do, suppose inside the style sheet, I want to access the H1 by the name of class, by the name of ID. By the name of the class, I need to access dot class. And color will be something I just want to give, this will be green. By the name of ID, I can able to access. So what is the class name? Sorry, head, dot head. I need to specify dot head. Dot head. Dot head. By the name of ID also I can able to access. By the name of ID I can able to access. So if you want to access the ID, hash head and color blue. So that's it. This is about the style. Style nothing but here some inline style is there. Inline style is something like element level CSS. And this is the page level CSS. Element level CSS is always the first preference. You will be having some additional style sheet like internal CSS also, but that will be not applicable. Open in default browser. I got a red color. Why? Because the red one which is available inline nothing but element level CSS. So that style attribute is element level CSS. Even though you are having internal CSS, it will not work. It will not work. So why I'm telling this internal CSS is, I try to access the ID, I try to access the class. So if you want to access the ID, if you want to access the class inside the style sheet, then only this ID is recognized, this class is recognized. So may you not understand, sir, where ID is utilizing, where class is utilizing. Suppose if I switch off the inline style, this H1 by the name called ID, this H1 by the reference of class, inside the style sheet is accessing. Inside the style sheet is accessing. This is the class specification. This is the class selector. This is called class selector. Class selector syntax dot, and this is the ID selector. This is the ID selector. This is ID selector. ID selector syntax hash. Class selector syntax dot. Okay, so if I'm not having the style there, obviously now color of h1 got changed. Color of h1 got changed. Now you see color of h1 is blue color. Blue color is nothing but id selection. So if you're having a class and id inside internal css, id is the first preference. id is the first preference. So we see in that id got updated. Id color blue got updated over there. Okay, so this is a style attribute. This is id attribute. This is a class attribute. Style attribute is going to be inline css, and id is going to be head. Class is going to be head1, header2, and number of classes I can able to define. And JavaScript, if you want to access the same class into the JavaScript, document dot get elements by id, class name header 0. If you want to access id in the JavaScript, document dot get element by id, something like a class name, whatever you want. Some id name. id name is what? Sorry, id name is head, right? So that manner you going to be access. And then what about the title attribute? Where is the title attribute utilized? When we do hover on this element, you can able to see the title. Can you see the title heading? So this is the title. Title is something, when you hover on that, some pop-up text is coming. That pop-up text is called title. And these are the common attributes basically for the elements. Suppose this h1 background color, something like a light coral color, text align center. And don't worry about the css, later we will discuss about the complete css, full css. And let me run this, and you'll be having the web development, and that is going to be having some coral color background, and it should be something like white here. Now it's very good. Now what my requirement is, some other properties also available for the h1. Some I told you, one is the width property, one is the height property. Maybe it is working or not. So most of the time width and height not working for every element. Width and 70% I'm giving. Height I'm giving auto. So there are two other attributes called width and height. I'm giving the width 70%, the height auto. Let's check width is applicable or not. Width is not applicable here. See, some of the elements width and height properties will not apply. For images it will apply, for table it will apply. Some of the elements, these two properties are not applicable. These two properties are not applicable. So don't worry. Just I'm writing all these things. But these are the common attributes we already know. These are the common attributes. For every element, these attributes will be available. One is the title, one is the style, one is the ID, one is the class, one is the width, one is the height. Now we will go for the special attribute. What are the special attributes? Something like src, something like href, something like target. Let's see some special attributes. Most of the time we will take one image I will take, one hyperlink I will take. Let me go with the new program. Just take a special attribute. Where special attribute will be? Special attributes.html. If I go with the special attributes.html, first I will take img src. src is a special attribute for images. src is the special attributes for images. Let me open some images. Okay, images. Let me take some image now. Copy image address, paste here. Okay, src is a special attribute over there, and I got an image there. Yes. And finally, what I want to do, I will take hyperlinks now. ahref target is going to something like hash value, and target underscore blank. And here href I'm using. Href is special attribute for anchor tag. Target is a special attribute for anchor tag again. SRC is the special attribute for IMGs or images, whatever it may. So that is what I am writing SRC and href and target. We done with the SRC, we done with the href, we done with the target. And iframe, suppose whenever you want to create some iframe SRC is equal to something like this hash, and yes, that is iframe. Whenever you want to define iframe, you can define iframe width you can define, iframe height also you can define. And for this hyperlink, I can give id is equal to link, class is equal to link, and style I can write, and yeah, so like this. And title I can write. But two attributes are actually special attributes here. One is the href, one is the target. ID, class, style, title common, and target and href both are special attributes. So this is a way of working with special attributes in HTML. I hope you got